It is about 5 months since President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was sworn in as President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria on May 29, 2023. However, the legal challenge against his electoral victory is still on at the courts. It is against this backdrop that political experts and analysts believe it is high time the National Assembly moves a motion to regulate the electoral process in such a way that all legal battles be concluded before the swearing-in of elected public office holders. This comes before or following the legal fireworks by major presidential candidates, Atiku Abubakar and Peter Obi, challenging the victory of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, which the Supreme Court has reserved judgment after the dual appealed the Presidential Petition Tribunal judgment. And of course, joining me to shed more light on the news at this time is Wale Ogunade, a legal practitioner and president of Voters Awareness Initiative. Thank you so much for your time, Wale.
Thank you for inviting me.
All right, now the Supreme Court has reserved judgment in the appeal filed by the duo of former Vice President Atiku Abubakar and Peter Obi, challenging the victory of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. What is your take that we are still here dragging this particular case 5 months after?
Yes, it's unfortunate that we are at this level at this time. One would expect that by now the issues of elections and matters related thereto are all things of the past, and that those who have been elected will now have the opportunity of sitting and facing the act of governance squarely without any stress or intimidation whatsoever. But be that as it may, is a law that we operate on. And I wouldn't believe that it was deliberate by the lawmakers to make this law and to keep it this way. But I guess that this time now that all these things have come to the fore, it gives us the opportunity to now look at the law, particularly the National Assembly, and we, those that are in the civil society, including the press, to ensure that indeed this law is looked into very well, the Electoral Act I mean, to ensure that those who win an election, or even before the issue of election, the time frame is now moved further down, that is behind, so that there will be time, enough time, for all issues of disputes to be settled before the eventual winner is sworn into office. If the person who won has been sworn into office, it will be a tough order for him or for the person who is challenging that person to be to succeed. Generally, the ground must be level for all contestants and all those who are aspiring to hold political office. But if somebody now has the advantage, obviously he will take it to the advantage of the other person, and that I think, will not be.
Okay, I mean, you said something. You said that the lawmakers deliberately. Why do you think that is, and in whose favor?
The lawmakers are politicians. The lawmakers are not civil servants. They are not businessmen. They are the politicians who benefit from this law. And if they make any law, it will be to their own advantage. So making a law that is not to their advantage will lead to their annihilation, as it were. So to them, it is better that the law that makes the status quo to remain is what they will promote. And what is the status quo? The status quo is that somebody who won an election will be there, they will go to court, they will have the option of appeal, and so on and so forth, until the whole issue is stressed and at the end is sorted out.
Now, do you subscribe to the political school of thought that all post-election cases should be resolved before the swearing in of not just the president but also the governors?
Then we'll now have some peace.
Wale, can you hear me?
Yes, now
okay.
I can hear you.
Okay, so I asked that do you subscribe to the political school of thought that all post-election cases should be resolved before the swearing in of not just the president alone, but also the governors?
Yes, that's what I've been saying. That's what I've been saying. We know that the elections will be coming up in 4 years, that the person who won now will be leaving office in 4 years. And we have known that indeed in the next, after the election, there are always crises, there are always arguments, there are people who want to go to court to ventilate their grievance and all, to assert their right. So we look at it. No doubt there's a timeline for the minor political offices, including the presidential election anyway. 60 days is for the Supreme Court now. But then we want it that there will be a time limit. The election should be shifted backward. Maybe it should be conducted in maybe January, so that between February and March and April, all those who want to contest one election or the other, they do that till maybe beginning till April, from January till April. They have, of course, they have the time.
All right. Now, before I let you go, now, what's your advice to INEC in subsequent elections, especially the fast, approaching elections in Imo, Kogi, and Bayelsa State? Can you?
I didn't get you, please.
Okay, I asked that. What would be your advice to INEC, particularly concerning subsequent elections, with, of course, the likes of Imo, Ondo, and Bayelsa, and also Kogi states? I mean, the upcoming elections that are happening in some of these states, Imo, Kogi, and Bayelsa. What would be your advice to INEC?
Yes, my advice is that they should just continue with what they are doing. There's nothing they can do really, because it cannot be changed midway. The elections that is coming in this, we call it off-season election, will be for to consolidate on the 2023 election. And I hope that they will do better, that INEC will do far, far, far better than what they did in the general election in 2023. And that's all, because they can't do more. They can't swear in a candidate before the D-date, and they can't conduct an election before the D-date. What can only happen is that they do what advocacy to the National Assembly, so that they will give them more time. And of course, that's the National Assembly will look at the laws and of course ensure that all elections and the activities are rounded up maybe 30 days before swearing in of a candidate. Yes, 30 days before the swearing in of a candidate, so that within that time, the candidate will now know that there is nobody who is disturbing him, and of course, he will now concentrate on the art of governance. Since that, I don't see any way out. INEC cannot do anything now than conduct, well, maybe the other way is that they will conduct a credible election that will not bring about rancor. But again, I suspect that it can never be possible in Nigeria. Why will it be impossible? It's because of the system in Nigeria that provides for a winner takes all. If the winner takes all system continues in Nigeria, every political office holder seeker will want to stress himself, do everything possible and impossible to ensure that he wins that office, so that he knows that once he gets into office, he of course he becomes the lord of the manor, and political office benefits accrue to him and him alone. He is now the one that will dispense it to the benefit of everyone or to their disadvantage, depending on whose side anybody is.
All right, thank you so much for your time. Wale Ogunade, legal practitioner, of course, speaking to us concerning the election matters in Nigeria. Once again, thank you.
To God be the glory.